Mike's in San Francisco. Hey, Mike, how can we help?
Hi, Dave. Thank you for taking the call. I'm really excited to chat with you.
You too.
Dave, I'm in the middle of like a family business nightmare from inheritance.
Oh, God.
And what we've got is we've got a company where my dad was partners with his brother, and my side of the family owns 47% of the business, and my uncle owns 51 or 52% of the other side. And there's no shareholder agreement, right? Every one of the kids got dished out their individual portion, but there's no way to get the money out, Dave, and there's a lot of funny business in the business right now, and I'm trying to figure out, what do I need to do to navigate this problem inexpensively, or is there a way to make this all work for us? And there's no profit sharing or anything like that. And so I'm just looking for some help, and I'm open to answering any of your questions.
Okay, so you and your brothers and sisters own 47%. That was your dad's share before.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your uncle's running the business.
Yeah.
Any of you in the business?
I'm in the business. My brother is no longer in the business. He didn't want to have anything to do with it because it was so challenging.
What's your position?
I'm the second vice president of the company, and I sit on the board of directors with my mother.
Okay. Is this an LLC or sub S or what?
It's an S corp. It used to be a publicly traded company that was taken private in the 80s.
Okay. What's the top line?
Top line,
revenue.
we do about 1.8 million, but we've got a lot of commercial business assets in the form of real estate.
Okay. All right. So what is your desired future? If everything went right, what would it be?
A liquidity event. Everybody gets a bag of money, pre-tax, somewhere in the neighborhood of $9 million for the people that own 13.5%. They can take their 52% of the money and go do whatever they want to go do. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. I mean, the kids don't know anything about the company outside of my brother and myself. The uncle
wants to sell or doesn't want to sell?
I think he's just going to hold forever, Dave. We've had some opportunities to sell some of the assets, but the deals did not materialize, and we were not involved in the business discussions of those deals in terms of negotiation.
And you don't have to be. You're a minor shareholder. He's got the power.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you guys need to get some legal advice before you sit down with your uncle, so you know what your worst case scenario is, and then you're going to have an ultimatum, it sounds like, doesn't it?
That's kind of where I think it's going, Dave. I mean,
because we've tried to talk to him, and he just stonewalls everybody and goes, screw you, I'm going to do what I want to do, which he technically can do,
yes.
but as if everybody's going to stand around. So if this were a general partnership in most states, now I'm not an attorney, and I certainly don't know California law, which is weirder than crap in most cases. But
I agree with you.
But a normal way of looking at this, if this were a general partnership, you could simply sue for it to be disillusioned, for it to be liquidated.
Okay.
Even as a minor shareholder, you could sue and have a judge rule that since he's not maintaining his fiduciary role for the minor shareholders, meaning you guys got no say, you got nothing, you get no distributions off of the profits, you get nothing out of this, and so the judge is going to say, liquidate this. Now, that's with a general partnership. A sub-S is more complicated, especially one that's come back private after having been public, so I have no idea what's in your charter and in all of that. The board of directors, I assume you all don't have enough votes on the board of directors to force this either, right?
That would be correct. The board of directors is stacked out of our favor with people that will vote in favor of what the uncle would like to do.
Yeah. So you're going to have to get some legal advice because honestly, I don't know what you're going to be able to do. But let's pretend for a second that my theory could be right, and I have no idea if it is,
yes, sir.
That you could sue for disillusionment. And, you could go to circuit court and the judge drops the gavel and says, I am ruling that this business has to be sold by this date. And these assets have to be liquidated and the shareholders have to be paid out their pro rata amount. Okay, that would be a normal ending to an adversarial situation like this in most methods of ownership. But again, you got to get legal advice. If you have let's pretend for a second, because I don't know any other way to get you out of this. Let's pretend for a second that the judge will that is a way that can happen in California with a sub S, with the way yours is structured after they review your charter and everything. Okay, if you can pull that off, then you've got something to put in front of your uncle to move him.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to work together, maintain all of our relationships. We want to love you. Dad loved you. He worked with you. You all grew this thing. I'm in here working, trying to help you make it work. But the way it's going is not going to continue. Either you and I are going to develop a game plan with some deadlines that some of these assets are going to be liquidated and the business is going to be liquidated and the shareholders paid out, and you can go get the money and buy us out. You can... we can sell the thing off, or we can sell it off pieces of it at a time and book value it. Don't really care, but we're not going to sit here and get nothing and you do whatever you want. Those days are over. Please, let's figure out a way that we can work with this and do it together. And, very kind voice, but very solid, and saying, so, and so doing nothing is no longer an option. You're either going to volunteer, and we're going to do this together as friends and family and maintain, or we're going to have a judge make you do it. That's assuming you can have a judge make you do it. Or you could just say, we're going to drag you into court, and it's going to cost everybody everything because we're not going to sit here and watch you just run this thing in the dirt.
Okay.
And that's even if you couldn't win. You can still make it so painful that he will get out. Really. I would much rather just do this on a relationship basis, but it sounds like you all have given that a shot.
Well, Dave, I don't know if the relationship route is exhausted, but I do find myself hovering my hand over a nuclear button, right?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
What else should I do?
So sometimes it helps to have these conversations from a position of, because sometimes what we have to do with your uncle, people in your uncle's situation, in any kind of a negotiation, I often find myself having to explain to them repeatedly in the conversation, we're not staying where we are. That's not an option anymore. We're either going to go this way, or I'm going to take us this way. I'm going to push the button. Okay, and so but we're everything's no. You didn't understand. We're not staying where we are, and you just got to. There's like something has to be pierced through their brain to get them to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have to use a pry bar to really get some leverage here.
Yeah, he's just not used to people telling him that he can't do something.
You're right, Dave.
And so we are going to change this. You don't have an option in that anymore. The only option you have is whether you're going to participate willingly, and we're going to do this on a friendly basis, and we're going to walk this out, or whether it's going to get nuclear. And, I don't really want to go nuclear. It's no fun. But we're not going. Yeah, we're not going the way we've been going for the last 3 years. You're driving everybody nuts.
Yeah, and I think, Dave, that's really good advice. And those two options were top of mind for me, just from me doing my own due diligence as an owner. And I've spent the last 3 years after inheriting this thing trying to learn as much as possible about it, right? To try and figure out, well, what's a risk? What isn't a risk? How do I get rid of a risk? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. And this stuff keeps me up at night, Dave. Yeah. And I kind of, I've got a little more clarity. Thank goodness you talked to me, because I knew you had a lot of experience to draw upon. Yeah. And all the lawyers wanted was a boatload of money.
Yeah. Yeah. But they need to give me something that's a crowbar, because honestly, unless in California, I don't know, but in most states, you can cause a lawyer, a judge in you can put it before a judge in a circuit court, and he or she drop the gavel on it for $25,000-$30,000 on a disillusionment of a general partnership that has crummy documentation, which is almost all of them. They have crummy documents.
Yeah.
They don't have exit strategies. And your shareholders agreement and your charter sucks because it did not account for a situation like this. And that needs to be addressed in the documents when you're doing a succession plan. And that's the problem you get into. So, hey, man, I'm sorry. Sorry you're facing that. Folks, the legacy builder stage of business is the last stage of business. That's where they are, or that's where they were when his dad was alive. Your job is to create a succession plan in that situation. And that includes the legal transfer, the financial transfer. What happens when the old man dies? We have that meeting around here ever so often. What happens if Dave dies this year? We always have one of those once a year. I call it the Monty Python meeting. I'm feeling much better. It's just a flesh wound. But every year we do a meeting that's if Dave dies, here's how this is going to go around Ramsey Solutions. And then we know what's going on. And everybody knows. The leaders know. The family knows. Everybody knows.